What's up? Welcome back to the MindShare podcast. This is where we cut through the noise, say the things that need to be said, and give you real strategies to help you work smarter, build MindShare, and grow a business that actually makes money. This is episode number 345. And today, we're talking about something a lot of agents and small business owners don't want to admit. You're not getting clients. Not because the market is slow, but because nobody knows you exist. If your email list is cold, your social media is inconsistent, your database hasn't heard from you in weeks, this episode is your wake-up call. We're going to fix your communication strategy, and I'm going to show you how to turn your attention into action using a simple, repeatable plan. Let's get into it. So, look, let's start off with something. Let's start off with visibility. See, when we run a business, we think, and most of us think, and I'm going to include me because, again, I own two businesses as well, what we call small businesses. But we think that we're out there. We think people know we exist. We think they just know because we have a logo, we have a brand, we have a website, an Instagram account that they just know. But they don't. And we're not. See, let's just say, look, if your strategy is to post one Instagram story every once in a while and send out one email blast every 3 weeks or so, one community post like in a group that you're part of, it's not visibility. See, visibility, or another way we like to put it over here, called MindShare. This is about consistency. This is about a strategy. It's about clarity. We've got to have a message that's going to continue to resonate with people, that we know who they are, so the message itself is actually tailored to them. When they see it, it's relevant, it adds value. And once it's relevant and adds value and it's caught their attention, hopefully it's going to spark some desire from them to want to know more or want to take action. So we always also, of course, want to include some sort of call to action. Now, I'm going to go backwards on that in a second for a moment here because I just used the word always. And I do want to clarify, especially when it comes to something like social media. It doesn't always need to be a business post, and it doesn't always need to be about gaining business. In fact, we want to ensure that we're creating relationships on there. We're being personal with people. So we want to be interested in other people. That's part of the act with purpose on social media, is to connect with them, show them you care. And we want to be interesting. We want to provide something that they could see, that they can connect to, that they see relevance in. But again, consistency is the key here. When we want to create that visibility, we want to build that MindShare, we need to consistently be adding value. There needs to be a strategy to the approach. So if you're not in their inbox, if you're not in their feed, if you're not in their community, whether it's doing it actively or passively or in person, online or offline, you don't exist. It's that simple. You think you do because you've got the business, because you got the business card, because you've got the logo and the company name and the colors and all that other stuff, but people don't know you're out there. So we've always got to be looking at, what does my visibility look like? Am I truly out there for people to be able to see? Do I believe I am? And when was the last time I went back and I actually audited how consistent I am with every single channel? What is the frequency? What is the messaging? Is there a cohesive strategy between the two? Now, look, there's specific points where there's always going to be, or there will be, a communication breakdown. Now, in fact, let's look at, again, just staying with, the channels that we just mentioned there through social and email, community. Let's go a little deeper here, or let's go deeper. First, the other day, I was having a conversation with actually a buddy of mine, a guy that I've known for a long time, and he's a business owner. He runs a very successful business, does an incredible job, has a long client list, does a lot of the right things. And when you talk from relationship, this guy is awesome. When you talk from, just building up that personality and people liking him, Great dude. Does a really good job. So every time somebody comes into a shop, people are engaged in conversation. And not to mention him, but everybody else there, the entire team, they do the same thing. Now, we were having a conversation the other day about business, about structure, about strategy, and he mentioned to me that he's got this system. Okay, now let's get into the same shoes here together, all right? You have a system too. You should be using a CRM. You should have your contact list in there. You should have your calendar attached to that, so that's where you run your entire day, your life, your business, personal, everything. And there should be marketing attached. Now, in this case, he also has a system. Very similar. It helps with point of purchase. So if people want to buy product within his store, everything runs through that system. Booking appointments, you want to go online and book an appointment, it runs through that system. If you want to call in and book an appointment, they use that system. So it's all attached to their calendar. It's attached to their marketing. It's got their contact list. I mean, essentially what I just said, it's their CRM. But in speaking with them the other day, I asked a question. And I said, how often do you send me an upsell? No. Let me go backwards for a second and just stay with me here. He mentioned that they have an app. I said, well, why do you have an app? And he told me what it was for. And, again, clients can go into the app on their phone and book an appointment, enter contests, whatever they're doing. And I said, really? I said, I've known you a long time and I've been here a long time. I didn't know you had an app. He goes, oh, yeah, you could do this, that. I said, no, you just told me that, but I had no idea you had an app. So first thing here is he wasn't communicating properly. He wasn't even telling me that he had the app. This was the first time he ever told me, and the way he's doing it is through his own power, right? It's an active touch point, and the channel he's using is in person. Now remember, again, we've got 7 ways to communicate. In person, by phone, text message, direct mail, email, social media, and your website. There's 7 channels. Now, depending on if there's people we know or the people we don't know, it depends on how we use that channel or if we even can use that channel. Then, as I mentioned a few moments ago, there's what we call passive and active touch points. In this case, he's using the channel of in-person. He's doing an active touch point. But now the question is, where's the support? What else is he doing to remind me? I mean, I might have been in there with him that day and we're having a conversation, and quite frankly, kind of went in one ear and out the other ear, and as I walked out of there, I totally forgot about his app. I totally forgot about any of this stuff. Well, wouldn't it be in his best interest? And again, I want you to think about your own message, whatever it is you're trying to tell people. Wouldn't it be in his best interest to repeat that message? To support that message across another channel, so that if I am going online and I do go to his social media later that day or a day later, a week later, that it talks to me about, hey, did you know we had an app? And look, the app is one example. But what we found was he wasn't using the system. He hadn't told me about the app. Now that he hadn't told me about the app, he wasn't using the system to inform not only me, but the entire client base about the app. Then further, as we got to talking, I asked him, I said, what about product upsells? And he started looking at me like, oh my God, that's a great idea. I said, what about the renovation that you recently did to this place? Did you tell people about it? Did you share it to people? Did you show off? And you could see the wheels were spinning. So again, why I'm sharing this story is you've got a business owner who's got all the best intentions, who's a very bright individual, who does a great job with business, in fact, has an incredibly successful business running, yet has a communication breakdown because they're not leveraging their system that they've already got to its maximum capability. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the system you already have can do what you need it to do. But maybe it can. So it is a matter of looking into that, and that's a big part of what we're doing today, is to help you analyze, what does my marketing strategy look like? What is it that I'm doing to build that mind share? Am I doing it consistently enough? Am I really having an impact on the market that I want to have an impact on? So again, when you look at a communication breakdown, sometimes it just comes back to you had no strategy or you had no consistency. But again, going deeper on that, think about it. Inconsistent email. Okay. Inconsistent email comes from the fact that we have no workback schedule created. So we haven't actually gone into a calendar and said, okay, when am I going to send? So how often? What are the messages going to be? When am I going to write it? When am I going to edit it? When am I going to get it prepared to send? And I mean, not only no calendar, there's no strategy. And not to mention, much the same when I spoke to my buddy here and I was talking to him and some of the people working with him. He says, one of the guys was like, nah, man, our clients, they don't want to get too much email from us. You ever thought that? You ever felt that way? You ever heard that before? I mean, I've heard it a million times. I looked at him and said, oh, yeah, because your customers are different than everybody else in the world. He's like, what? I'm like, no, wait a second. They're the same as everybody else in the world. And he looks at me, he's like, what? I'm like, dude, nobody wants to get an excessive email. Nobody wants ongoing newsletters coming into their inbox. Nobody. But do you think McDonald's and Coca-Cola cared about that theory? No. And that's why they're the biggest of the big. Because they continue to market, they continue to promote, they continue to advertise. They are consistent, and they have a strategy to how they go about it. Now, of course, for them, it's evolved over the years, depending on the channels they use and what they do. For us, though, as small businesses, we can't be looking at email or any channel and thinking, well, I don't think they want to see more of me. No, you're absolutely right. They don't want to see more of you. Nobody wants to be marketed to. But if you don't market, you're not out there, how do they know that the lights are on? How do they know the door's open? How do they know that you are there available to do business with? They should just know? So when it comes to email, much the same that I said to this guy, I'm saying to you, you have to have a consistent email strategy. Now I'm going to suggest to you at the bare minimum, you're sending 2 emails a month. 1 every other week. I'll tell you right now, if you think that's much, I'm doing twice a week. Mondays and Thursdays. And we continue to send it. It's all in the calendar. We can look ahead and we know exactly what days we send. We also know what days we write. And that's what you call strategy. And there is no fear of people unsubscribing. Of course they're going to unsubscribe. It's what happens. But part of our job is to ensure that we continue to add more people into that database. We continue to grow the list. So there's the one side of going out and doing the contact of the people we know. This is group number 1 because we now have their email address. So they're technically people we know, whether we know them really, really well, we've done business with them before or not at all. We've got them in the system. Now we can market to them. And yes, it's their choice to unsubscribe or not. But as we're constantly marketing to them and people are reading and people are unsubscribing and people are inquiring, we're constantly on the other side as well going off to group number 2, trying to feed more people into the database. So think about your email. Is there a communication breakdown? Are you leveraging a calendar? Do you have that strategy? Is it in place? If it's not, get it in place. How? Again, pick minimum 2 days of the month that you're going to send out your email. If you think about the second Wednesday of the month and the fourth Wednesday of the month. How about that? Now I say to you, write the email for the second Wednesday of the month, let's say on the Friday the week before, or even the Monday, the week of. Give yourself at least 48 hours to proof it, or to write it, to proof it, to have that buffer so that no matter what happens in your day on Wednesday, that email can get sent out. Because again, that's one of people's biggest problems is they don't plan ahead to think, when is that going to go out? Or pardon me, when am I going to write it? When am I going to edit it? Instead, they go, I'm going to do it on the Wednesday. Next thing you know, you've got a meeting come up. You're like, I couldn't send it out. Well, again, this is why you're having a communication breakdown. This is why there's a lack of visibility. We're not building enough MindShare. I mean, take another channel, for example. Social media. And ask yourself, is my social media lazy? Which really means you're lazy. But moreover, let's be specific on that and say, is it very random? Have you just got like anything and everything that you throw up there? Or like maybe it's not even everything, but it's just anything. Randomly, once in a blue moon. And sometimes you'll see feeds, and you know what I'm talking about, where you can tell somebody doesn't have any strategy, right? They're resharing something from other people, which is not a bad thing at some points. They're posting stuff that is completely random and nothing to do with their business or nothing to do with them really. It may be something they have an interest in, but where's the relevance to the other people watching it? Okay, so the content's very random. It's all over the place. There's no strategy. And then when there is a strategy, there's no hook, which means that the content's going out there, but it's not doing anything to pull people in, to get them to be attracted to what it is you're saying. Remember, HVC, hook, value, call to action. I've got to say something to you to bring you in. Then I have to deliver a bunch of value to you to really make you want to stay and listen and learn. And then, of course, at the end of it, I should tell you what to do. A call to action. In fact, I just did that with the email. Told you the problem. You're on the same page as me. Told you why it's happening. There's the value. Then I told you what to do about it. There's the call to action. So same thing with social. It's not that every social media post, and I said this before, right? It's not that you always have to have a call to action. But what we want to do is we definitely want to have content that's going to resonate with people. So again, very similar to our inconsistent email, let's look at our lazy social media and ask ourselves, do I have a content strategy for how often or how frequently I'm going to post on social media? Again, we need consistency. We need a strategy. So you look ahead and you ask yourself, well, how often am I posting on social media now? And maybe you're only posting once a week. Great. You know what? If you're doing once a week and it's been consistent for, the past 52 weeks or 104 weeks or however many years you've been doing once a week, wonderful. I'm going to challenge you to step it up to twice a week. And if you're like, I'm already doing twice a week, great. I'm going to challenge you to step it up to 3 times a week. Look, do we need to post multiple times a day, every single day? No. But if you posted once a day, every day, would that be a problem? No. You see, we, again, get fearful that people are going to get overwhelmed by all of our content. Yet, we forget that there are billions of people on social media, and there's a lot of content out there. So the chances that people are going to see your content every single time you post, they're very, very slim. Which then means that if you're only posting inconsistently every once in a while, the chances that people are going to see your content are even slimmer. Which means you're not leveraging social media to build MindShare. And when we think about social media, the best part about social media is that it really is completely free to take advantage of. It's free to post, it's free to share, it's free to reshare, it's free to, to connect with people. Like so much, forget the advertising spend right now. We're talking just your efforts. It's free. So you got to look at your social media strategy and ask yourself, am I being lazy about this? I've got this powerful channel sitting right there that gives me the opportunity to connect with so many people. And all I got to do is have a strategy for it. So again, talking strategy here, look at your calendar for the next 30 days. Look at the month ahead. And ask yourself, what am I going to post and when? How many days a week am I going to post? What days of the week are those days that I'm going to post on? And what days of the week am I going to prepare that post? So I actually take the picture, record the video, write the description, so that by the time I get there to that day that I was going to post, it's ready to post. I don't have to worry about the time involved of coming up with the content or recording or thinking or anything else. It's pre-planning. Again, it's a workback schedule. This is, again, how we build more MindShare, the consistency. And along the way, we're going to learn things. We're going to see what's working, what's not working, and we're going to want to make adjustments. But when you think about email, and you think about social media, you can blast one message to many people in a click of a button. And as long as you've got a workback schedule in place that says, I know looking ahead when I'm going to post or what I'm going to send by email or post on social media, and I'm adding value. And oftentimes there's a call to action telling people what to do about it. I'm increasing my opportunities, my chances of having people reach out to me to want to do business with me. They see me. Now, speaking to email and social, when you think about communication breakdown, and I just talked about reaching, what about zero direct outreach? Never mind just the online passive or one-to-many messages. What about the actual offline? Making your phone calls, doing your direct messages, doing follow-ups, or Or are you not doing calls? Not doing the DMs? Not really doing the follow-ups? See, again, if we're not doing the active touch points, then the passive touch points don't have enough support. They don't have enough real, genuine authenticity from you. Email and social are supposed to be support mechanisms to what we do as human beings. We cannot rely on online to drive everything we do in business, and we should not, especially when you're in a people business, in sales, in relationships. Instead, by having time carved out in our schedule on a consistent basis, whether it's a daily or it's 3 times a week, I'd argue that you should have this block in there daily. But yes, of course, scheduling sometimes will tell us we can or cannot. Well, what time are you making your phone calls today? And we're not talking calling everybody on a contact list. We're talking like calling 3 to 5 people to check in and say what's up. What time are you doing your direct messages today? Checking into your social media apps or maybe your text messages apps, your WhatsApps. Responding to people or reaching out and saying what's up to people. And then when it comes to follow-up, people have reached out to you. They've inquired with you. They've put their hand up and said, I've got a question. I'm interested. What's your follow-up strategy look like? I will say to you right now that of the 3 channels I just mentioned to you between email, social, and like this direct outreach, if you had to pick only one, I'm going to tell you all day, every day, it's direct outreach. It is the real phone calls, the real text messages, the real follow-ups. Again, social and email are there to support. So if you only had time to do one, go into the direct outreach. In saying that, I'd argue you, if you told me that's all you had time for, that I could help you find time to create this entire strategy when it came to your content for both email and social. So ask yourself this. When was the last time that you sent out an email campaign? In fact, when's the next one going out? What's your social content plan look like for, I don't know, next week or even next month? Like, what does it look like? Look ahead and ask yourself. Be real with yourself. Is there something that you can see, or are you thinking to yourself right now like, oh man, I don't really have one? And who's on your follow-up list right now? Like for today, if you were to look at your schedule as you're listening to this podcast, who's on your follow-up list? Who are you actually supposed to get in touch with today? And do you have that list ready for tomorrow as well? All right, let's take a quick commercial break here. This episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, your ultimate CRM and lead generation engine. REM Real Estate Magazine, the voice of Canadian real estate. And REVEL Realty, bold marketing, real support, and real results. Download your free Ultimate Marketing Bundle at MindShare101.com. As we just mentioned, with the 7 ways to communicate the 2 audiences, the active and the passive touch points, it will break everything down for you as a completely free ebook. Definitely download that. And while you're there at the website, MindShare101.com, lock into our one-to-one coaching, the MindShare Collective Group Coaching, Momentum Training, and get your seat for our MindShare Mastermind, which is taking place this September 15th to the 17th in Toronto. This is where serious business owners come to level up. I encourage you to get your ticket, be in that room. It is going to be a powerful 2.5 days of collaboration, problem solving, and giving you the action steps that you need to go out there and make the end of this year the best yet. We're going to help you make more money. We're going to help you change the way you think. We're going to help you look at the strategies that you implement. We're going to help share what other people are doing so that you can, again, get to that level that you want to get to. Whatever it is, I'm telling you right now, this is a powerful room that you want to be in. Make sure you get your ticket. MindShare101.com. All right. I keep mentioning about the workback plan, and I want to look for a moment here deeper into this, what we'll call the MindShare workback plan. Talking about building visibility that really does turn into business. Now, there's 5 steps to this. Okay, so make sure you take note of this, because this is, again, we talk about, hook, value, action. This really is the action part right now, okay? So again, how do we turn that visibility into business? How do we turn this mind share into market share? First step, I want you to think about the 7 ways to communicate that I just mentioned to you. And I really want you at this moment to lean into 3 specific channels. I want you to look at your email. I want you to look at your social. And I want you to look at this direct outreach. And I want you to ask yourself and be very honest with yourself, doing an audit, how many emails have you sent so far this month? How many social posts have you put out this month? How many phone calls and direct messages have you done this month? In fact, are you tracking those efforts month after month after month? If not, you should be. No, not just in your head. Oh, I know, yeah, we sent out 3 emails this month. No, you should have it on a goal tracker. Why? So you can measure month over month over month what your communication strategy looks like. Then ask yourself what kind of return on investment we're getting from that communication strategy, and whether or not we need to make tweaks to it to increase the frequency, decrease the frequency. Probably wouldn't usually decrease. But point is, we want to go through and we want to actually pick those 3 channels and understand that we're going to focus in on email, social, and these direct contacts. Okay, that's step 1. Now, step 2, we want to plan, and this is very much in line with what I just mentioned to you again about looking ahead to the following month, but we want to plan a 30-day content calendar. Now, I said to you minimum 2 emails a month. I'm going to tell you what I'd love to see on that content calendar. If you think about a big desktop calendar, okay, one of those big ones that goes on your desk that you can write in the big boxes. I would say you take pencil and eraser so you can kind of scribble things in and then go, oh, wait a second, let me move that here. So you get to play with it. You get to tweak it. But you schedule in there weekly emails. So once a week, we're sending out an email blast. What day of the week are you going to write it? And what day of the week are you going to send it? Then we move on to social. And I'm going to suggest to you that we've got 3 to 4, at minimum 3 to 4 social media posts a week. 3 to 4. So again, look at the schedule for the following month and ask yourself, what 3 or 4 days of the week am I going to post? And if you ask me, what day is the best day and what time is the best time? Look, that's a rabbit hole. Okay? Right now, we just want to get you to the point where you're consistent, where you're doing, where you're executing, where you feel good about it. That's our first step. So again, what days of the week are you going to post? And what days of the week are you actually going to create? Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to schedule in what days of the week we're actually going to do our, again, direct reach outs. Okay? Now, I said to you, we're talking minimal, like 3 to 5 people a day is usually what it'll probably break down to when you're contacting your entire database 3 times a year, let's say. Now, I know everybody's got different size databases, but the point is what we're looking to do here is not say you got to call the entire list every single day or every single month. No. You think about having one person on a contact list and you want to reach out to them by phone probably 3 times a year. 3 times a year ends up being a good number when you add on the social and the email and all the other outreach you do and a birthday card and whatever else you're going to do. And we can get into the nitty-gritty to talk about detailed content plans in terms of using all the different channels and how to get out there and really leverage them specifically, like to a science, where we're going to be able to tap into people's minds and impact the decisions they make. In this case today, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible for you. And again, we go with our coaching clients, we go deep. We get right into the nitty-gritty. But in this case, again, we're planning a 30-day calendar for you. So you got the weekly emails, you got 3 to 4 social posts a week, and then you've got, say, 3 to 5 people you're touching base with in phone calls per day. These direct reach outs. And then again, if the phone call doesn't work, they don't pick up, a direct message, a text message, it also counts. It's a one-to-one message. So that was step 2. You're looking ahead to the next 30 days and you ask yourself, and even the month ahead, what does that content strategy look like for me? I'm going to build out a 30-day calendar. Now, step 3. We've picked the channels. We've identified the days that we're going to leverage those channels. Now the idea is to build out your content theme. Okay, what are you actually going to say to people? Whether it's, market updates or client wins or behind the scenes or community information or how-to tips. What are you actually going to say to people? And that's where people really do fall off, is because they go, well, I didn't know what to say. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I know enough. I'm not sure if there's going to be enough value. Oh my God, it takes too much time. Oh, excuses. Listen, nobody knows everything. Nobody's the smartest person in the world. I mean, I guess there's one particular person. I don't know who they are. I mean, I tell myself every day when I look in the mirror. No. But point is, it's think about it. Like, we're going to make mistakes, but we also have our opinions and our knowledge about what is actually happening in the market. And we can share that back to people just through our own experiences. So when we think about building out the content themes, and we think about these different things to say, first, remember these 3 questions. 1, what do I want them to know? 2, why should they care? And 3, what action do I want them to take? So, for example, if we talked about, a client win, I want you to know, the great news that this client just shared. Why should they care? Well, because we, want them to know that we're a resource for them as well, or that, if they're having that same problem, you have solutions. And then what action do we want them to take? Call me or click on this button on this email. We tell them what to do about the information. Does that make sense? And if you just answer me, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You speak up a little louder, sorry. You think about those 3 questions of what I want them to know, why they should care, and what action I want them to take. And you leverage those 3 questions to answer what it is you want to say. So if I'm thinking about writing an email and I'm sitting there today and I know that I've got this 1-hour block in my schedule, workback schedule, right? I've got this 1-hour block to write the email. Now I think to myself, well, what do I want to tell them? Well, first thing I'm going to do is just start bullet pointing different things that come to my mind. Then as I'm bullet pointing those, I'm going to start to get a better sense of what the story is that I actually want to share. Why does this matter to people? And then I'll start to flow into what action they can take. But the first part is answer what you want them to know. Now, that's something that I'm going to leverage for creating emails, creating social, creating presentations, creating this podcast, all of it. So you can use that same structure to create your content. But I'll take you further here when it comes to social, specifically. Build out a lifestyle list. What do you like? What do you love? What makes you you? It's going to be a mix between business and personal. We're going to leverage those different ideas to share with people. So another way even to look at this is when I'm coming up with a social strategy, I've picked my 3 or 4 days a week. I know what days of the week they are. Now I'm going to create a theme for that day. Let's just, example here, it's Monday. I'm going to do a motivational post. Monday, motivation. Tuesday could be a tip. Thursday could be a thought of the day. Friday could be a fact. There's 4 themes for you right now that you can leverage when you're putting out your content. So now you look ahead at the month and you say, okay, I know I'm going to post Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I've got a theme for each of them. So right at the top of the week for the entire month, Monday is going to say motivation. And now I know I need 4 motivational posts for my Mondays for the next month. Now all you got to do is come up with that pencil and that eraser, or that pencil, write in the content idea, the motivational idea that you're going to put out for the next 4 Mondays. Come up with 4 motivations. Come up with 4 tips. Come up with 4 thoughts and 4 facts, and now you've got your content strategy laid out for an entire month. I know, Dave, you make it sound so easy. Look, it is that easy. I mean, it's not really that easy, but it really is that easy. The hard part is just the thinking. It's the time. It's the patience. The rest of it, too easy not to, and too free not to take advantage. So step 3 here was build out the content themes. What are you going to say? Then step 4, you want to make sure that in a lot of what you say, especially those emails that are going out, which are your passive touch points, they're very marketing related, And even some of the social posts that go out, again, passive touch point. But we want to use these CTAs, these calls to action. For example, book a call, reply back, click the button, send me a DM, download the free guide. Like if you're on my email list, you see we do this all the time with you, especially in the emails. We'll give you a button to click. We'll give you something. I just a few minutes ago here on this podcast told you about the ultimate marketing bundle that breaks down the 7 ways to communicate and the 2 different audiences. And it helps. It's your plan to build a more MindShare. And if you haven't got a copy yet, go to mindshare101.com and get it. It's completely free. And it's an incredible resource to help you build that MindShare, to grow that market share. And it really will support everything we're talking to today. By the way, see what I just did there? Again, a CTA, a call to action. I didn't just tell you about the marketing bundle. I told you where to get it. I told you what to do to get it. So you want to think about how you're including CTAs. You don't want to just tell people that you're in business and here's what you just did without telling them what to do about it. I mean, that's got to be like one of the biggest common mistakes that most people make when they're doing marketing is they'll say something, they'll make a statement, deliver a message, but not tell people what to do about it because they assume that people just know, call me or click the button. But unless you tell people, we're going through so much messaging in a day, it doesn't just work that way. You got to be very specific. So again, step 4 here, make sure you're including CTAs. And then finally, step 5 in this whole MindShare workback plan, track it. Track it. Engagements, replies, clicks, appointments. Are people actually responding to your content? Are they engaging with you? Are they making conversation with you? And if they're not, tweak it. Maybe the message has to change. Maybe the time of day has to change. The time of the week has to change. The frequency of your stuff has to change. Oh my God, Dave, how am I going to know all this? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put the first 4 steps into place. You're going to do them, and you're going to see what happens. You're going to measure. And there's nothing wrong with coming up with a plan that you put in place, you execute on, and then you see if it actually worked. And if it did, great. And if it did, but it needs a little tweaking, great. And if it didn't, great. What? Well, you tried. Now you got to figure out what you can learn from it to make it better. But you've done it. You're moving. You're in, like the momentum is building. Look, building MindShare, it's not about shouting louder. It's about showing up more often. It's about consistency, and it's about purpose. MindShare equals market share. So look, your fall business, the business you want to do in the fall, coming up very shortly, unfortunately, starts right now. Okay? It should have started a few weeks ago, but that's okay. It starts now. Here, fall leads come from your summer seeds. Think about a farmer. They don't go plant the seeds, the same day or week that they want to grow their crops. That they want to bear their fruit. It happens months and months ahead of time, and they take time to go out there and sow the land and water the land and nurture the land so that they can get the crops they want. But it all happens way ahead of time, and you've got to look at your business the exact same way. If you go quiet right now in these summer months, your fall is going to suck. You understand that? It's going to suck. I know we want to enjoy the weather. I know we want to get out there. We want to take advantage of all the opportunity we can. I know people get into that sort of summer lull mode. We talked about that in a recent episode. But we've got to continue to be strategic, especially in tougher markets. We've got to continue to stay visible. We've got to continue pushing through. You've got to be out there building the MindShare. Now, more than ever. Tougher markets, people's mindsets aren't in buy mode necessarily, but there is activity happening. And many of your competitors, and potentially even you, have had that thought of, oh my God, I can't afford it, or I can't do it, or nothing's happening, I don't want to do it anymore, or I'm just going to take a break for a little bit. That's okay. Let all those people take a break. That means there's less noise out there. So the more you're doing now through your communication, the more you're going to have when it comes to the fall. Remember that. Do not wait for the fall to start going, that's it, I've got to make things happen. Now, you got to make it happen now so it actually happens in the fall. See, communication, it's the bridge between where you are and the business you want. Okay, think about that. Communication is the bridge between where you are and the business you want. Close your eyes right now. Whoa, if you're driving, don't do that. But think to yourself, if I sit here right now and I think to myself, what am I doing to communicate? And what am I doing to prepare my pipeline for tomorrow? Ask yourself right now, are you putting in the effort today? Have you got the schedule mapped out this week to be building enough MindShare that you're going to get the market share in the next 30, 60, 90 days? I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you right now to start this week. Send that email, post that video, make those calls, create that calendar, start the conversations. That's your challenge. Because again, MindShare equals market share. And if you're not building the MindShare, you're not going to get the market share. So here, let's summarize this quickly for you. Okay, your next move. Build that 30-day communication plan. Commit to showing up weekly in their inbox, on their feed, and in their lives. Track what gets attention, what's working, what's not. And remember, people can't do business with you if they don't remember you. Again, MindShare equals market share. You've been listening to the MindShare podcast. Go to mindshare101.com for your free marketing bundle, coaching, and more. Follow me at David Greenspan101 and DM me with your top communication gap. Let me know where you're struggling. Until next time, keep building MindShare because that's how you get more market share. Big thanks to our sponsors, Kits, REM Magazine, and Revel Realty. This has been another episode of the MindShare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.